What is going on, everybody? It is Monday, May 20th already, and welcome to What's the 411. We are here live, of course, with a fabulous guest that is about to give us the full scoop on his journey. So let's dig right into it. Please introduce yourself, O'Brien. Let everybody know all the great things you have going on.
Hello, everyone. I'm O'Brien Porter. I'm a business consultant by trade, but I focus specifically in the marketing sectors. And my goal is just to help as many businesses as I possibly can to just understand the reasoning and the processes that come with media growth, and more importantly, find better ways to drive solutions for the businesses. I do this through, again, tailored solutions that are aligned with digital platforms.
That's so important, because especially as entrepreneurs, small business owners, even large business owners, it's important to get that piece involved in our business. So talk to us about the significance of what you do.
Yes, so whether small or large, we all know that one of the more essential pieces of the business is to be able to sustainably grow. And we're living in an era where the traditional forms of marketing just isn't quite cutting it. Like for your business to be able to grow, you need to be able to put yourself out there, which is definitely the primary form of marketing. But using the traditional routes can be, number one, extremely costly, but also quite confusing because there is really no ways to measure how effective it is for your overall business and brand growth. So using those digital tools really is a lot more cost effective. If you use them in the right ways, you can experience rapid growth. And then more importantly, it gives you a bit of assurance to know how to measure yourself as you steadily grow over whatever platforms or whatever strategies that you have in place.
So important, especially like I'm a small business owner and I'm always thinking, you can do things yourself, but sometimes you really need a professional to get in there and to help you to build your business, to give you those different strategies that you would actually never even have thought about if you didn't reach out. So talk to us about a bit of how you kind of customize each of your business owners and their I guess whatever needs that they might have to help to grow their business.
Yeah. So for starters, I always evaluate every business that in a sense where no one business is the same. So you can't treat every solution in the same ways. Everybody has a different style of how they want to grow, different style of how they learn, and just a different perspective on how they feel would be best. At the end of the day, I am still a professional, but I do want to make sure that your thoughts and your ideas are incorporated well as we input a strategy that's going to get you to a place where you're able to see sustainable growth. So it's extremely important for these business owners to understand that, when you're working with somebody, you don't want them to provide you with just a standardized solution. Often I see in the industry that is something that's commonly done. Well, I did this with this person and it works. Let's just keep it going. You really have to understand it's the little things, as I say, the minor things that make the major impacts. And with that, finding the best ways to drive that, but also keep it sustainable. Because when starting off a business, we're just not told a lot of things, especially as a small business owner. And there is a bit of a strategy to it. Like you do need to map those things out. And often we'll just get into it. We'll think about the strategy. We'll think about all the other components later on. But it should actually be the first step. And I often try to just remind my clients, remind anyone who I connect with that, if you have a plan in place, that's the first step. Also making sure that it aligns with relevant tools is the second step. And then thirdly, execution. So, the tailored solutions go hand in hand, but if we're not working diligently together to execute on that, then all it is just a solution. It's not something that's going to actually work.
So important. So talk to us about some of excuse me, some of the limiting thoughts that entrepreneurs, whether it's a small business or a large business that we may have, that we need to kind of get rid of so that we can open up our minds to this digital marketing strategies that you may have to offer for us.
Oh yeah, like the first thing is understanding that when you're a business owner, a lot of the passion goes into what the particular business is. The thing is, my passion is to help businesses grow. So I do my best to understand as many tools, as many strategies, and just the right things that I feel like will align and relate to the business owners that I connect with. As the journey that we often go on, say you're someone that's working in a particular industry, your focus is that industry. What you don't think about is that you're actually a full-fledged business owner at this point, and the focus can't just be that industry. It has to be how you're going to grow. And sometimes that can be a challenge, and we'll push that to the side. And one of the things that I like to really push home with any of the clients I connect with is that, these things are like essential for your growth. Like it can't be to the side. It should be at the forefront. As much as you want to get that idea rolled out and you want everybody to, you know, buy or connect with you or engage with you, you have to think about what's the strategy to allow that to happen, because that's a huge part. And I find that's the gap. That's the gap that most small businesses, large corporations encounter. They have like some organic growth. Hey, everything's great. A few months pass by, sometimes maybe a year or two, and then it's like things are stagnant and there's no way to revitalize things because there's no strategy in place to do that. And sometimes it can be a little too late. So you always want to start with that. And that's something that I've always continued to advise whoever will listen.
Yeah, okay. You mentioned a little bit earlier about traditional strategies versus maybe, excuse me, more modern strategies. So talk to us about like, especially online presence, your website and things that people kind of see you like see for your business before they see you as a business owner. Why are those online presence, why are they so important?
Great question. So, if we wanted to start with traditional advertising, that would be TV ads, that would be newspaper articles, that would be things like leaving flyers on people's cars. And then, of course, there's the word of mouth. Now we're going to switch to the digital side of things. There's social media, there's videography, and then there's other things like backend solutions like email marketing, CRM integrations, and etc. With the traditional marketing, you're not able to actually measure how many people see or engage on your content. You do a TV ad, you pay that upfront cost for that TV ad. They give you an estimate, but you really don't know the accurate numbers. You go ahead, you do a flyer, you hand out so many flyers. You don't know how many people took it off their car, threw it away, never looked at it again. Same thing goes with word of mouth. You only know so many people. What happens when you reach that cap on all your friends, and now you are going to walk up to a random stranger and just tell them what you do? You don't even know if they need your services. Whereas with digital, you can measure every single step of the way. You post an ad on Facebook, you know how many people saw it, you know how many people engaged on it, and then you can build on that audience and remarket to them, and then re-engage with them for them to really understand the value of what you're offering. As the same thing goes for things like email marketing. All those things are data points that are measurable, and that's the important thing to take away. To be able to see the data, to be able to understand what this data does for my business, and then to be able to convert it into something that is like sales and leading to more opportunities, or that's more appointments, whatever your goals may be. So really and truly, there is a drastic difference, and there's a drastic difference in cost. For you to set up a Facebook ad, there's no minimum spend. If you want to put 20 bucks at it, you can do that. If you want to put 100, you can do that as well. Same thing goes for things like email marketing. Most email marketing platforms will charge you like $20 a month for you to have a CRM, and sometimes it's like upwards of $50 a month. These are very low spends in comparison to what you're going to do the other route. And the effort is going to be both ways. You're going to have to put the effort in to see the return, but it's just a very cost-effective way for you to get yourself out there to significantly more amount of people, and also be able to see and engage and measure those metrics that work progressively towards your business growth. So that would be kind of the comparison. And of course, I'm leaning more toward digital, and most business owners should be as well, because if you're not spending as much to do these things, all it really is the effort. So if you're willing to do it, it should be something that is definitely at the top of your list.
Yeah, very smart. So talk to us a bit about your background. What actually got you started, or what industry were you in that led you here? Like, give us the full scoop.
Yeah, so I always had a passion for business. I went to school for business, specifically business communications. And then I started working at a media platform that is very well known. And I started off working with small business owners. And on this media platform, my goal was to pretty much create solutions for these business owners that are specific to the platform, and then also find ways for them to grow on it using those particular tools that are aligned in the platform. And during the small business era, I really enjoyed it. That's what initially gave me the vision to start my own agency and to start my own consulting firm. Just because I understood and I really felt the impact of what I made with these small business owners. Eventually, I moved on to much larger corporations. With these larger corporations, it was also different as well. A lot of it was forecasting, a lot of it was strategizing, and a lot of it was assisting with the execution side of things. And I did also see the value of that as well too. So that's kind of what formed the idea behind the companies that I have. So right now, the major one is Porter John Digital, and that is focusing on just medium-sized, medium to large type businesses. And the goal behind that is that there's a lot of agencies out there that will say, okay, we'll do this website for you, we'll do this marketing for you. What we do is we adopt wherever you're at and we find the tailored solutions to make sure you get to a point where you're sustainably growing. So we're not necessarily looking to just sell you on a bunch of services. We're more looking for growth partners where we grow progressively together and we scale out that business to a point where it had never been in the past. And then there's the consulting firm, which is a subsidiary of the Porter John Digital. And that is for the small guys. I've never lost love for the small guys. And my goal behind that is I know that the budgets just may not be there. And I still want to work with these guys to be able to find ways to effectively allow them to grow. So there's individual services that are offered, and there's also services that are grouped together that still keep it cost effective and still keep them happy as they eventually grow themselves to that medium or large scale. So both concepts are still aligned behind one mission, and that mission is to help business owners understand that there's a way for them to grow. It's not going to cost them an arm and a leg to do that, and they can take advantage of these digital tools and these platforms and effectively see themselves scale out if they have the right strategy and the right team behind them.
Okay. And so what sets your business aside from others that may kind of be in the same lane doing the same thing?
Um, one of the big things is tailored solutions. As I said, I've been in the industry for around 8 years now. A lot of the companies that rise and fall are just offering these standalone services, and it's kind of like as soon as the money runs out, is the effort it goes away. For us, we are really committed to our clients in terms of growth. We're committed to our clients in terms of creating optimizations and scalable solutions. So just having that tailored experience, knowing that I went to this team, I went to these individuals and this person, and he truly found a way to find a tailored way for my business to grow. And it wasn't just something I heard from four other guys that were saying they could do all these things. I'm not throwing things at the wall here. I'm evaluating where you're at and then finding the right kind of solution and then assisting you with the execution process of that as well.
Okay. So share some keys about staying relevant for business owners in the digital world.
Yes, yes. So it all depends on the vertical. Because we are a marketing agency, we should definitely be active. And I can just speak specifically to the agency level. We try to be informative with our content, and that can be videography, and that can be just standalone static posts. But for any business out there that's selling a service, a particular product, you definitely want to be as active as you possibly can. It doesn't mean that these posts have to always be perfect, but you do want to make sure that it aligns that in a way that best represents your brand. One of the things you touched on before was like, what's the importance of a website and all those things. Most people, like just to give you a little insight, there's around 2.9 active billion users on just Facebook and Instagram alone. On YouTube, there's around, I believe on that last 2.1 active billion users. These are a lot of people that are actively using these platforms daily, right? And you just want to think about how is my brand going to be represented when all these people touch base and it kind of falls short of what the standardized look is, or a lot of people put these websites together and say, well, hey, I got it done, and then it's like, well, when they go on that website, they know that you did it, and it's a lot of little small things that you just don't know because no one's advised you on it, but it does make large impacts on how your brand is represented. They now see you as, okay, this is probably just some startup type thing. I'm not sure, because when you go on all the other platforms. It's like when you go into a situation in a room and there's like everyone in a standardized has standardized look, but then your look is completely different. But it's not a good different. That's how it can be perceived. And that first time impression makes such a big impact on a lot of businesses. They don't really think about that, but it is so important. If I go on there and it doesn't look as professional, that may sway my decision making process when it comes to using you or buying from you as well. So just having that in mind as you're doing all your content is extremely important because the representation is everything, especially as a small business. You want to be able to capture some of that market space. And that makes it very challenging for you to do that when you're not necessarily putting your best foot forward. And that's just something that's like a mantra I've had with the businesses that I've been running here for these past couple of years. Like I always want to put my best foot forward.
Yeah, and just as you were saying that, I was thinking about the algorithm on like Facebook or Instagram and how it's constantly changing and as to what people kind of want to see and how long your ads and everything should be. So is that something you can also help any business owner with as well?
Most definitely. The thing about these social platforms is they do have rules. A lot of business owners just aren't thinking about those things. Like when you post a video and you just post it on your page, there's no caption behind, or there is a caption, it says this, or the aspect ratios of the video are off. All those factors work negatively against the growth of your business. What you want to do is you want to really read into these platforms and understand what the dynamics and dimensions are for your posting of these videos. You want to look at some of your competitors and see what kind of content, like some of the competitors that are doing, a little bit better than you are, and see the type of captions they're putting out. In my eyes, it's always less is more. You don't want to overdo it with the captions. You don't want to overdo it with the hashtags either. And with the content, especially, you want to keep it rich content. That's marketing jargon, but rich content is essentially the video. It has the right type of brightness. The aspect ratios are aligned with what the platform requires you. The captions look professionally well done. If that video takes you a little bit longer to edit, just go through the process. It's a lot better than just putting something out there for the sake of putting something out there. Really negatively impacts the way how your business is perceived. And yeah, those are some of those factors. The algorithm is one thing, but it's also the rules too, right? Like you follow those rules, you're one step closer to being able to be as successful as you possibly can, and it will organically promote the things that you put out. So just keeping those things in mind. But to answer the question, yes, I can definitely assist with navigating the constant changes of these algorithmic patterns.
Mm, yeah, very important to think about too. I never thought about the rules of posting on the social media platforms, but it's got to be important for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So visibility, of course, in our community is super, super important. Talk to us about what kind of impact you're trying to leave by being a business owner and supporting other business owners.
Most definitely. So legacy is extremely important to me. During this process, I've been able to learn a lot. Just like other businesses, the longer longer you're in business, is the more you learn. And I try to just learn from every experience, good or bad. And in terms of like the impact that I want to make, I want to be able to help as many businesses as I possibly can. Like, of course, I'm a minority business owner myself, so I do want to make an impact in the minority community. But I'm not going to limit myself in that sense. I do want to ensure that everybody knows that they can feel welcomed as they come in and they engage with myself or my team. And with that, also promote just transparency. That's one of the things in the industry that just isn't always showcased. Being transparent and showing these business owners that, hey, this is what I'm willing to do to really showcase and show you that I'm putting your best interests at heart. And just going back to what I said about growth partners, a lot of it is just, okay, this is your business, this is my business, and I'm helping you do this, and see you later. I want to build ever and ongoing and ever evolving relationships with the clients that I work with so that they know that as they grow through each stage, they have the right person, the right team to support them to continue to grow accordingly. So representation is extremely important to me. Legacy building is extremely important to me, and then impacting my community. I moved around to different places, and each place that I've lived, I've always done my best to make an impact in that community.
That's great. So give us a rundown of all the services that you offer so that if anybody is looking for any particular service or maybe all of them, they know exactly what services that you offer.
Yeah, great. So, for as I said, for the larger corporation, which is Porter John Digital, we offered a full tailored solution. So that would include things of web development, marketing, paid advertising, SEO, which is search engine optimization, and also content and creative uh, development as well. So that would be all in one. It's not like we're gonna just say we're gonna do this or that. We're gonna make sure everything is elevated and the brand is aligning accordingly. But for the O'Brien P Consulting, which is the consulting firm, I offer individual services along the lines of website development, CRM integration, email marketing, implementation, also paid advertising, marketing strategies. I can do full marketing strategy as well. And then even things as specific as developing documentation for your business, making sure that you have the right policies in place and ensuring that your website itself is adherent to the standardized expectations from the industry as well. So audits to that extent as well. So anything, almost anything in relation to the business development. And then I do have individuals on my team that can provide professional services such as photography, videography, shoot commercials for you, and then just make sure that you're being represented, as I mentioned, putting that best foot forward for every process that you take, so that it allows you to maximize your reach, but also be appealing to as many audiences and as many targets as you desire.
Okay, perfect. And so there are a lot of business owners out there, that may be watching this right now or watching in the future. Talk to us about maybe some tips that you would have to encourage business owners to keep pressing forward and keep an open mind when it comes to digital marketing.
Yeah, so the first thing I would say, like this is not even digital marketing related, have a strategy. Have a strategy because if you don't have a strategy right now, I strongly stress that you develop or you look into professionals that could be myself or someone that's local to you and create a strategy for how your business is going to grow. The strategy should be based off of a ideally 2 to 5 year marker, and then just have the checkpoints on how you're going to execute things. A lot of the things that you don't think about is that if you have something that's there and you have a layout and you have a plan, it makes things a lot easier. Now you still got to follow that plan, that's for sure, but it makes it a lot easier for you to know the different ways that you can grow. Because then when you don't have these things in place, it's just like, well, I'm just doing this, but really don't know what I'm doing. So the number one thing is to have a strategy in place. And as for digital media, it is just the future, right? Like talk cost effective ways for you to grow. That is all digital media, which is why I have pivoted more towards that. As I mentioned, I started at the beginning of this conversation. I am a business consultant by trade, but I focus specifically on digital tools and digital solutions because I understand that the other end of the spectrum, which is the traditional marketing, traditional media, they're just quite costly, right? They're far too expensive for the average business owner to afford. And at this point, from what I've seen, this in the marketplace, it almost makes no sense to invest in those traditional tools anymore, unless it's just something that adds in addition to your already successful digital campaign. So digital media is the future. Rather than running from it, you should embrace it, and you should make sure who you're working with is someone that can truly help you and assist you as you navigate and go through these different processes and nuances as a business owner.
Hmm, okay. All right, O'Brien. So tell us what we can expect to see from you this year.
Well, as I mentioned, I've had a lot of different experiences just being in the business. And this is the year that I really just want to continue to push and expand just the number of clients that I work with, my team, working with just different corporations and organizations. We do prefer to have long-term commitments, which is not something that I had done in the past. So that's a big change for us. We want to work with these corporations for at least a minimum of 6 to 8 months. And, of course, longer that would be preferred, but that gives us an accurate time to be able to show that progress and that growth. Because not everything is just going to be night and day, right? It's not like 1 month and it's like, okay, well, we did all these things. It might take 1 month to get you all set up and get you where you want to be. What about the other remaining time that needs to build and navigate and segment your audience? Segmentation is also really important. So that's what we're kind of doing as an organization. I am a managing partner at Porter John. I do have another managing partner, and I have a few other team members there as well too. So what we've done is we've just segmented our audience, and we're at a point now where we're just looking to grow and impact as many businesses that want to see growth on the platform. And of course, with that, we want to be a part of that growth as well too.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Well, I just want to thank you so much for coming through. You always have and leave us with a great impact. You were a part of a seat at our table at our first in-person edition. So the response that we got from the audience was great. Everybody enjoyed hearing about what you have to offer and then engaging in your services as well. So it was fabulous. Um, so we'd just like to thank you again for coming through, for supporting the community and sharing all the information that you have. But before I let you go, I always like to hear of like a motivational quote or something inspirational that you kind of go by on a daily basis.
Well, yeah, I would say this is something that recently came across, but it's always been internalized. You just want to always pace yourself. Don't grow too fast. That's the number one thing I always think about. Don't try to grow too fast. You can either burn yourself out, you can miss out on opportunities. Just think about steady growth. So always, growth is always essential, but don't grow too fast. Just pace yourself and take your time.
All right, all right. Do you have anybody you want to shout out? Say what's up to?
Well, I just want to shout out the team, at Porter John Digital and the team that assists me at O'Brien P Consulting. And I just want to shout out to all the business owners out there that are continuing to grow and are inspired by entrepreneurship. And, it's really the way. Building legacy is really the way. So shout out and kudos to you for looking to build a legacy for yourself and those around you. And I look forward to potentially connecting.
Awesome. Sounds good. So where can we get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me in a number of different ways. I am essentially everywhere. So that could be Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, X, LinkedIn. We have a website as well. So that's porterjdigital.com. And then there's o'brienpconsulting.com. So I have platforms for both. And yeah, there's a chat feature on there. You can fill out a form, our onboarding form. You can send a message. There's many ways that you can contact there. So again, I'm everywhere. I'm O'Brien P Consulting. If you wanted to search me up there for my direct website, and then Porter J Digital for the larger corporation.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you so much for joining us again. We appreciate it and we look forward to connecting with you for sure in the future. All right.
Thank you again, Ellie. I hope you have a great one.
All right. You too. All right, guys, you heard it here first. You got to pace yourself when it comes to business, but there's no better way than getting in touch with somebody who knows which pace you should probably get on. So you want to reach out to O'Brien. He's great at making sure that he creates a strategy that is going to work and be customized exactly for you and for your business. You know what? So you got to make sure that you're reaching out to him. All right. Next week is the end of May, which actually comes to a close for the end of What's the 411 season 6 week. So that's our last episode next week. I'm really excited about it, making sure it's all closed off very nicely so that we can go and enjoy the summer. And then we're going to come back in September. So make sure you guys keep it locked right here next week for our very final episode. All right. I'll see you next week.